In the hauntingly silent expanse of the Ural Mountains, where the snow blankets secrets and the wind murmurs tales of the past, lies a mystery that has captivated the world for decades. This is the journey of Keith McCloskey, a man drawn into the vortex of one of the 20th century's most chilling enigmas, the Dyatlov Pass Incident. His exploration is not just a quest for answers, but for understanding what transpired on that fateful night in 1959, when 9 experienced hikers met their inexplicable demise. Keith's journey to the heart of the Dyatlov Pass mystery began not in the snow-swept Ural Mountains, but in the quiet corners of libraries and the buzzing hum of the internet, where whispers of the past beckon the seekers of truth. Born with a mind that reveled in the unraveling of puzzles and the threading together of historical narratives, Keith's early life was marked by a profound interest in the untold stories of the world. He found himself captivated by the intricacies of history, unexplained events, and the tales that seemed to defy logical explanation. As a researcher and writer, Keith's passion for history was not confined to the known and the documented. He was drawn to the gaps, the shadowy corners of historical events, where the lights of understanding had yet to shine. It was this insatiable curiosity that led him to the haunting story of the Dyatlov Pass. The mystery of the Dyatlov Pass, with its complex weave of intrigue, tragedy, and unanswered questions, struck a chord in Keith. It was a historical riddle that refused to be categorized neatly into the annals of known incidents. The more he delved into the accounts of the 9 hikers and their fateful exploration, the more he realized that this was not merely a historical case to be studied. It was a puzzle to be solved, a challenge to the understanding of what is possible. What drove Keith's deep interest in the Dyatlov Pass was not only the mystery itself, but the human element that lay at its core. He was moved by the story of the young hikers, vibrant, adventurous souls who set out to explore the wilderness, only to meet with an inexplicable fate. Their story was a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the unforgiving nature of the wilderness. Keith, a seasoned researcher and writer, found himself intrigued by the layers of mystery shrouding the Dyatlov Pass. The story was more than a cold case. It was a tapestry woven with threads of uncertainty, fear, and the unexplainable. His journey into the frozen labyrinth of questions began with a simple curiosity, which soon grew into an unyielding pursuit of the truth. As he delved into the heart of the mystery, Keith McCloskey encountered a chilling narrative. The experienced trekking group led by Igor Dyatlov had embarked on a winter expedition, only to be found deceased under bizarre and unexplained circumstances. The tent slashed open from the inside, the hikers' bodies scattered across the snowy landscape, some barefoot and undressed for the sub-zero temperatures. The perplexing state of their remains, coupled with the strange injuries they had sustained, painted a picture of horror and confusion. Keith's exploration led him through a maze of theories, each more intriguing and unsettling than the last. Were the hikers victims of an avalanche, or was there a more sinister force at play? He pondered over the possibility of military experiments gone awry, secret weapon tests that the group might have unwittingly stumbled upon. Could this have been the cause of the bizarre injuries and the radioactive traces found on their clothing? The more Keith investigated, the more the line between reality and the bizarre blurred. He was drawn into the realm of the supernatural, considering legends of indigenous Mansi tribes and eerie tales of mountain spirits and entities. The notion of a Yeti-like creature or an unexplained force exerting its wrath upon the group weaved its way into his considerations. These folklore elements, while speculative, added a chilling dimension to the already mysterious circumstances. The indigenous Mansi people, native to the Ural region, had a rich tapestry of folklore that spoke of spirits and entities inhabiting the mountains. To Keith, these stories were not just cultural artifacts, they were potential keys to understanding the psyche of the hikers and the fears they might have faced. Among the most intriguing of these legends was the tale of the Menk, a creature akin to the Yeti or Bigfoot, said to roam the Ural Mountains. This creature, in local lore, was both revered and feared. Keith considered the possibility, however remote, that the hikers might have encountered such an entity. Could the inexplicable injuries and the chaotic dispersal of the group be attributed to an encounter with a creature of legend? While skeptical, Keith could not entirely dismiss this theory, given the unexplained aspects of the case. The Mansi also believed in spirits that guarded the mountains, often reacting violently to those who disrespected the natural order. Could the hikers have unwittingly violated the sacred site, invoking the wrath of these spirits? Keith explored this angle, examining the hikers' route and the Mansi's sacred sites. Though a leap into the supernatural, this theory resonated with the unexplained elements of fear and panic suggested by the state in which the group's tent was found. Keith also investigated the name given to the mountain, Kholat Syachel, which translates to Dead Mountain in the Mansi language. Was this ominous name a mere coincidence, or did it bear a deeper, more sinister significance? He delved into the history of the region, seeking any past events that might have contributed to this foreboding nomenclature. The mountain's name itself seemed to be a grim premonition of the tragedy that befell the Dyatlov group. The Mansi, like many indigenous cultures, spoke of unseen forces that governed the natural world. These forces, often beyond human understanding, were said to have the power to protect or harm. Keith pondered if the hikers had encountered such a force, a premonition that defied scientific explanation but was a part of the local spiritual understanding. Another peculiar aspect that Keith explored was the reports of mysterious orange spheres seen in the sky in the region around the time of the hikers' expedition. These sightings, mentioned in the case files, were linked by some to UFO activity. Though far-stretched, Keith considered how these unexplained sightings might have influenced the hikers' decisions or state of mind on that fateful night. In his quest to piece together the puzzle of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, Keith McCloskey's exploration of local lore and legends was not a descent into irrationality, but a genuine attempt to understand all possible factors. He recognized that folklore often contains kernels of truth, or at the very least, insights into the human experience of the unknown. As Keith McCloskey sifted through the layers of folklore, testimony, and evidence surrounding the Dyatlov Pass Incident, he grappled with the task of forming his own interpretation of the events. His exploration was guided by a desire to find a balance between the plausible and the extraordinary, to weave together the strands of fact and legend into a cohesive narrative. One of the more conventional explanations that Keith revisited was the avalanche theory. While initially it seemed to offer a rational explanation for the hikers' sudden departure from their tent and subsequent deaths, Keith found inconsistencies. The terrain and the conditions of the bodies raised questions. Could an avalanche have caused such specific and varied injuries without burying the tent entirely? Keith's analysis suggested that an avalanche, while possible, did not fully account for all the peculiarities of the case. A key aspect that Keith considered was the bizarre state of undress found in some of the hikers, a phenomenon often associated with hypothermia, known as paradoxical undressing. This condition, where individuals in the late stages of hypothermia begin to feel warmth and remove their clothes, could explain some of the hikers' behavior. Yet, this did not explain the presence of other injuries, nor did it account for the orderly way the group initially left the tent. Delving into the more controversial theories, Keith explored the possibility of military involvement or secret weapon tests in the area. He examined historical records and testimonies about military activity in the Ural region, considering if the hikers could have been accidental witnesses to a clandestine operation. However, the lack of concrete evidence made this theory intriguing but speculative. Keith also contemplated the human element of fear and panic. Could the hikers have experienced a psychological breakdown, a collective hysteria that led to their frenzied escape into the lethal cold? The slashed tent suggested a desperate need to escape from an internal threat, yet what could have triggered such a unanimous and extreme response remained a puzzle. Ultimately, Keith McCloskey leaned towards a theory that combined several factors. He hypothesized that a natural trigger, perhaps a small avalanche or a sudden weather anomaly, could have prompted the group to leave the tent in a state of urgency. Once exposed to the harsh elements, a series of unfortunate events, including hypothermia and disorientation, might have led to their demise. The injuries sustained by some of the hikers could have been the result of stumbling into the ravine or other natural accidents in their disoriented state. However, Keith acknowledged the limitations of his interpretation. The Dyatlov Pass Incident, with its myriad of mysteries and contradictions, defied a simple, straightforward explanation. His theory was an attempt to reconcile the known facts with the enigmatic elements of the case. In his pursuit of the truth, Keith also traveled to the Dyatlov Pass, immersing himself in the silent, oppressive atmosphere of the site. Standing there amidst the vast whiteness, he felt the weight of the unanswered questions that hung in the air like the ever-present snowflakes. The desolation of the landscape was a stark reminder of the isolation and fear that the hikers must have felt in their final moments. As he trekked the path that the hikers took, Keith pondered over the human element of fear, the psychology of survival, and the instinctive actions that extreme stress can provoke. His exploration was as much about understanding the human psyche in the face of death as it was about the physical evidence left behind. Despite his extensive research, Keith found that the Dyatlov Pass Incident remained shrouded in mystery. The lack of conclusive evidence and the passage of time had only deepened the enigma. For Keith McCloskey, the Dyatlov Pass was more than a historical case. It was a symbol of the unexplained, a reminder of the mysteries that lurk in the remote corners of the world. In the realm of mystery storytelling, the story of Keith McCloskey and the Dyatlov Pass is a chilling journey into the unknown, where facts intertwine with theories and the truth remains just beyond reach. It is a narrative that echoes the complexities of exploration, the human desire for answers, and the haunting allure of the unsolved. As we leave the icy whispers of the Ural Mountains and the enigma of the Dyatlov Pass behind, our journey in mystery storytelling ventures into the arcane. We now turn our attention to a narrative steeped in occult mysticism and enigmatic rituals, the story of Aleister Crowley and the Abramelin Operation. In this next chapter, we delve into the life of Aleister Crowley, a figure shrouded in controversy and fascination. Crowley, known as the Great Beast and a master of the esoteric, embarked on a daring and profound ritual known as the Abramelin Operation. This ancient practice, said to grant the sorcerer immense power and knowledge, is a tale that intertwines magic, mystery, and the quest for spiritual transcendence. Through the eyes of Crowley, we'll explore his relentless pursuit of the Abramelin Operation, a ritual that demanded 6 months of spiritual preparation, isolation, and intense focus. His experiences during this period, marked by strange visions, mystical revelations, and psychological transformations, provide a window into a world where the boundaries of reality and the metaphysical blur. Was the operation a path to enlightenment and power, a dangerous foray into the unknown, or a psychological journey into the depths of the human psyche? Our exploration will take us through the corridors of the occult, challenging our understanding of the mystical and the boundaries of human potential. Subscribe and join us in this enthralling narrative where each revelation sheds light on the mysteries of the occult and the enduring allure of the unknown.